Welcome to lytudiep's channel. Today, let's listen to a gentle but touching story, the story of a child's first steps. Where each small fall contains the extraordinary power of love, patience and unconditional trust from parents. Jack, a boy born into a home filled with deep love and resilience, was the light of his parents' lives, Diep and James. Two people who had endured countless hardships to protect and preserve their family, from the moment he came into the world. Jack was not just a child, he was a miracle. Diep, once a single mother who believed she would never bear a child, found hope again when fate reunited her with James, the man she had once loved with all her heart. Their love story had been anything but easy. Misunderstandings, societal rejection, cruel family opposition, and battles against power and prejudice had tried to pull them apart. But they fought their way back to each other. When Jack let out his first cry in the hospital delivery room, Diep held him in her arms, tears streaming down her cheeks. Beside her, James gripped her hand tightly and whispered, "You did it." Our family starts now. As time passed, Jack grew up enveloped in warmth and devotion. Even as a toddler, every word he uttered, every laugh he made was treasured. But their journey wasn't free of worry. Jack was diagnosed with mild motor development delays, making it difficult for him to crawl, stand, or walk like other children his age. Diep stayed awake most nights, silently weeping, fearing that her son would never walk. James, the quiet strength in the family, never spoke his fears aloud. Instead, he carried Jack on his back through the garden, helped him stretch his limbs each morning, and celebrated every small movement with silent tears and endless patience. "There's no need to rush," he told Diep gently. "As long as our son knows we're always here, he'll move forward on his own legs." When Jack was about a year and a half old, something extraordinary happened. On a bright spring morning, with sunlight pouring into the living room, Diep was folding diapers when she noticed Jack clinging to the edge of a small wooden table. He steadied himself, his tiny legs trembling, but his eyes shone with determination. Diep froze in place, barely daring to breathe. James stood at the doorway, frozen too, watching. Then, slowly, Jack took a single, wobbly step toward his parents. Just one step, but it was everything. Diep burst into tears, wrapping her arms around James and sobbing. He did it. He really did it. That evening, the family celebrated with a simple meal. There was no champagne or guests, but laughter echoed in the home as Jack was lifted high into the air and spun around. James whispered in his ear, "I believe you'll go far, son." as long as you never forget today." Their path continued with many patient afternoons and tiny triumphs. James made it a ritual to walk with Jack every evening, holding his hand as the boy learned to balance. Deb always brought band-aids and antiseptic, knowing Jack would likely fall again. No one scolded him or showed disappointment. Every scraped knee was a lesson, every tear a badge of courage. They told Jack again and again, falling doesn't matter. Standing back up does. And Jack, stubborn and determined, never gave up. One day, he fell more than 10 times in the park. His knees bloody and hands dirty, yet after every fall, he clenched his fists, wiped his tears, and said proudly, "I can do it." James hugged him tight right there in the grass, tears in his eyes, voice cracking as he whispered, "Yes, my son. You really can." By the time Jack turned 4, he was ready for kindergarten. Deb prepared everything meticulously: new shoes, a water bottle, even a hand-embroidered towel with his name on it. But when they stood at the school gate, Jack clung to his mother's shirt, eyes wet with fear. Deb crouched down, hugging him tight and whispering, "You're Mommy's little warrior, remember? And warriors are brave enough to walk into new places and make new friends." Jack looked up at her, then turned to James, who simply reached out and took his hand with his warm, steady grip. That simple act was enough. Jack took a deep breath and walked into the classroom. In that moment, his parents realized their son had grown, not just in size, but in courage. School life brought its own share of struggles. Jack had to learn how to face his fears, to communicate, to work in teams. One day, he came home quiet and withdrawn. When Deb gently asked what was wrong, he mumbled, "Some kids said I walk like a robot." Deb pulled him into her lap, brushing his hair gently and saying, "Everyone walks a different journey. You don't have to be like anyone else. Just be yourself, and keep walking." James handed him a small notebook, its cover inscribed with, "The strongest people are the ones who rise again after every fall." That night, Jack fell asleep in the arms of his parents, his heart a little lighter. When Jack was 8, he signed up for a school obstacle course race. He didn't win, but he finished it. For a boy who once struggled to stand, crossing that finish line meant everything. The whole school applauded as Jack stumbled across the end, drenched in sweat, knees scraped, but beaming with pride. James ran to him and scooped him up. Deb stood nearby, tears of joy rolling down her cheeks. "I'm so proud of you," she said. "Not because you were the fastest, but because you didn't give up." As Jack entered his teenage years, he became a thoughtful, kind, and steady young man. He excelled in his studies, but what made him truly special was his heart. He once defended a classmate from bullies, and another time, carried a girl who sprained her ankle all the way home. When someone asked him why he always helped others, Jack answered simply, "Because my parents taught me how to get back up after falling. I want to help others do the same." Deb hugged him tightly, and James stood quietly beside them, pride glowing in his eyes when the day came for Jack to graduate high school. His name was called on stage, and both Deb and James stood up from their seats, clapping with all their hearts. This wasn't just a ceremony. It was a milestone in a long, arduous journey. Jack had gone from a boy who couldn't walk to a young man ready to step out into the world on his own. He looked down into the crowd, found his mother's eyes. Those same eyes that had once looked at him with worry and endless hope, and he smiled. No words were needed, the look between them said it all, and so. The story of Jack's growth, marked by scraped knees, quiet strength, and unwavering love, closed its first chapter. But no matter how far he went, Jack would always carry the image of Deb, his mother who never gave up, and James, his father who quietly held up the world behind him. Because for a child who had to learn to walk through struggle, home isn't just a place to return to. It's the very force that gave him wings to fly. Thank you, dear friends, for following Jack's story. Hope we will see more good things from James and Diep's life.